Hey everybody, George Connolly from Scratch Golf Tips. Thanks for tuning in to today's video. In today's video, we are discussing the yips. Now the yips, similar to the word shank, are just two words you do not want to hear in golf, but unfortunately, everyone goes through, at least at some point, a little bit of the yips or a little bit of the shank. So today we're going to be talking about the yips, which are a little bit more focused on putting and chipping, the short game. That's where the yips kind of manifest themselves. So we're going to go over what causes the yips, what makes the yips worse, and how you can improve and get rid of your yips. So I'll show some examples on the screen right now for anyone who is unfamiliar with the yips or exactly what the yips are. But basically it is when the golfer just feels uncomfortable over these shorter shots that require a lot of feel. They have too much tension, they have a tightened grip, maybe too much face rotation, and it leads to very, very poor golf shots. The really tough thing about the yips that a lot of people can't overcome is not the technical aspect, but it's actually the psychological aspect. Especially when you look at very good golfers who have a ton of confidence in their game, it's so demoralizing when you have a simple chip from a simple lie and you nearly shank it and you're in a worse position for it. Because of this, players get in their heads and then one bad chip leads to another bad chip, then you're putting poorly, you lose all confidence, and then you have yips. Looking back historically, some of the best golfers who have ever lived have gone through the yips and have talked about their experience with them. Sam Snead, Tom Watson, Arnold Palmer, those are all guys who at one point in their career had the yips and then they had to overcome it. And here are some things that they used in order to do so. So like I said earlier, it's a total lack of confidence that causes the yips. So what a lot of people do is they will just practice relentlessly on these short shots. Now in a lot of these videos, I talk about the importance of practice and the importance in repetition, because the more consistently you'll practice, the more consistently you'll perform. And that mentality is no different for solving the yips. If there are certain shots like chips or putts that you have the yips on the course, then just go to a practice green and chip around and putt around without pressure and just get the feeling back, get the confidence back, get that consistency of practice back in your game. When you're doing this, it should not feel over technical. You shouldn't be thinking about every little thing you're doing. Just try and easily flow through the shots as naturally as possible. You may not be hitting them perfect every time, and that's fine, that's not the point. It's just getting that natural feel back, getting the confidence back in a way. You can't get that back on the course. You can't stand on a hole and hit 10 chips over and over again just to get that feel on the course. There's a level of pressure on the course that's not only because you're keeping score, maybe you have people that you're playing with, there's pace of play you need to keep up with. There are all those factors that you can totally ignore. It's very, very low pressure when you're just practicing. So that's more of the psychological side. You need to recognize first, hey, I've got the yips, okay? Just put it out there, you know that you have them. Then you need to say, okay, what am I going to do to actively get rid of the yips? Well, I'm gonna practice more. I'm gonna practice in a less pressure-filled environment, and I'm just gonna work on my feel. So now let's talk about the technical aspects of what you can change in your swing in order to promote better contact and get rid of your yips. I have two main keys for getting rid of the yips, and this is probably helps a little bit more with chipping, but it can absolutely be applied to putting as well. So what I have down here is, the first one is accelerate. I know that when a lot of people are chipping, especially when you have a shorter shot, you want to get the ball up in the air. If you're using a lofted club, a lot of people don't trust the loft of the club, and they'll come out and then they'll just decelerate through the ball. And decelerating through the ball, you're going to lose all of your tempo, you're going to lose the mechanics of the swing, and then when the club comes in through impact, especially if you're in rough, the grass is just going to eat it up. It's not going to go well. When people decelerate with their chips, that's when you see some of the worst contact possible. So what I would try and do is, if I'm on a practice green, I would just work on my acceleration. Don't pay attention to a hole, don't pay attention to a landing spot, pay attention to proper contact. And in doing so, you're going to get the feeling of accelerating through the ball, you're going to be hitting it cleanly, and once you can hit it cleanly and you get the feel of hitting it cleanly, then you can try and dial it in and figure out distance control, trajectory control, all that stuff. But first and foremost, paramount to everything else, you need to be making clean contact through the ball, especially with your chipping, and that clean contact is made through accelerating through impact. So we have acceleration, and then the next big thing would be consistent tempo, which is something that a lot of amateurs lack, especially with their chipping and putting. And now when I say tempo, I mean the rhythm of your swing, one back, two through. It's a very standard rhythm, and it should be used similarly for all your shots. It should be consistent across the board. Now when there's a shorter chip, a lot of people have the tendency to take it back a very short amount, but they really go too fast. They go right through, when really it should just be It should be that same rhythm across all swings. Conversely, sometimes when you're gonna have a bigger swing and people don't trust the loft of their club, they'll go too slow. Like I said, decelerating through the ball. It's just the tempo needs to remain constant, whether it's a smaller chip, mid chip, or one of the higher lofted chips. Same thing with your putting. It's a very common occurrence for people on long putts to really bring it back and then decelerate through impact. So just make sure that you have a consistent tempo in your mind. One thing I will always advise for people who are trying to work on their tempo is film yourself. The most effective way that I've dialed in my tempo is just by filming my swing. I don't do it in slow motion. In real-time speed, just film your swing and look at it just with a naked eye and see, I think I was a little quick on that backswing, or maybe I was too slow through transition. It's the greatest way, in my opinion, to record in real-time speed. That's the best way to work on your tempo. So understanding that the yips are just a very psychological issue within golf, and also understanding the technical aspects that I just went over, those are two great things to understand if you want to get rid of your yips. If there was anything that I addressed in this video that did not make sense to you, or if there are any questions that I did not mention throughout the video at all, you can feel free to message me personally on any of the Scratch Golf Tips social media sites. You can also email me personally at scratchgolftips@mail.com. If you like the apparel that I wear in these videos, I wear John Morgan Sportswear. They are a proud partner of Scratch Golf Tips. You can use the link in the description of this video or use code SGT2021 for 20% off your order. Thank you all very much for watching. Play well and take care.